Welcome back. As I mentioned, we have Fred Fasanelli here, who is running for the Orange County Judge Office. Well, welcome. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. I'm a little nervous.
Well, you know what? TV is fine, and we're just having a chit chat about things that you already know. So it's super easy, right?
Yeah, sure.
So basically, well, you've been here in the community for a really long time. Tell me a little bit about your background.
I was born in Texas on an Air Force base. Lived there until about 5 years old, and then my father was deployed to Thailand. He was a B-52 pilot.
Nice. Okay.
And a surgeon. So I lived in Thailand for 3 years about, and then came here in 1973. My father set up a house in Villa Park, California, and I have not left. I actually lived there all the way through law school. I went to Chapman College,
Okay.
Western State Law School, Villa Park High School, so really local.
Yes.
And then I raised my own family, and first house was in Orange Park Acres, and I had I have twin boys who are now 21, and I have a daughter who's 20.
Okay.
So when we had our daughter, I had to get a bigger house, went right back to Villa Park. So I've been driving past the same trees like most of my life.
I bet.
So,
well, it's a great area to live in, especially to raise children. Now, you mentioned you have a family, and your children are how old again? They're 20?
They're 21, 21, and 20.
Okay.
So twin boys. And then my daughter's the adventurous one, which I find really interesting.
It's good, and that particular age is interesting when you talk to them about politics and things like that. It's very different. And your current position is?
I'm currently doing criminal defense.
Okay.
So,
okay.
I like to say I keep everybody honest. So.
Well, that's good. That's good. So tell me a little bit about how that transition from what you're doing will help apply as a judge.
Well, prior to doing criminal work, I did the Dow breast implant cases, and when I was in law school, I patented a product. I patented believe it or not, it was a dog tag before all these engraving machines came out and stuff.
Okay.
I patented this dog tag, and then went to law school and finished law school, and then started that company. So I have, I manufactured that for about 10 years.
Okay.
And during that same time, I was representing doctors doing the Dow breast implant litigation, if you remember that way back when. And all things have a life cycle. After that, I ended up doing criminal defense, and I've done over 130 felony jury trials. And what that's taught me is people's time is important.
Yeah.
What we need, the public, but we also need witnesses, and we need people to participate. And I think that when the courts put undue burdens on people and not be flexible, because almost by its definition, the justice system, whether it's civil or criminal, probate, it all needs to flex with these important things that happen in life.
Okay, so give me an example. Like, what would somebody be up against?
Well, I'll give you this week's example.
Okay.
Last week, I entered ready for a trial. Now, a trial can start on day one or within 10 days of day one.
Okay.
If you are not assigned a courtroom, you are technically not engaged, right? You're not engaged in trial. So last Monday, I answered ready on a trial, and the judge said, well, come back next Wednesday, we'll have a courtroom for you. Well, that Tuesday, I had to go to Riverside, and there was another trial going on, and I said, well, I'm trailing on this other case in Orange County. And the judge said, well, we have a courtroom for you today. You're not engaged there, so I'm sending you off to a courtroom.
Oh, wow.
So you have to be flexible, and then the judge has to be flexible, understanding that you're now somewhere else. And then, some tragedy happened in the case in Riverside, where that case then disappeared. And then I'm right back into front of that other judge, and he said, oh, I thought you were in trial. I said, no, now I'm back again. So you have to understand that as a judge, things are always very fluid in all aspects of litigation, whether it's criminal or civil.
Right. So as a judge, what are some things that you might do differently than what's happening today?
Well, I have the dubious honor of being both a litigator and a litigant. So I truly know what it's like to sit next to a lawyer that you're paying your hard-earned money to, and expecting the court to give that person some sort of deference, or at least be prepared. And nothing is more frustrating than after spending a king's ransom to have a lawyer draft documents to come into court and have the judge come in and say, okay, so tell me what this case is about.
Oh.
Well, you should have read the multi-$1,000 document that was submitted to you, last month, right?
Okay.
So I think one thing is always be prepared.
Okay.
Because if you're prepared, you can always be flexible.
Well, that's true. That's
So-
true. Oh, that's interesting. I actually had not heard this before. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of cumbersome stuff that goes on in trials and things like that, but I had not heard about what you're saying. So that's very interesting. Like you said, you do need to be prepared. So you think that your current position and all of the things that have led you up to this point will make you that prepared judge?
Oh, yes. I think that one thing everybody has to understand is the most stressful place for anybody other than a lawyer, a clerk, or a judge is the courthouse. Whether you're a witness or whether you are a potential juror or sitting as a juror, most people don't talk in front of large groups. And when you're doing jury selection, right, you're asking these people, so tell me about yourself. And they don't want to talk about themselves in front of 100 other people. They have no clue who they are.
Right.
And we kind of, when you're talking about jury selection, you're asking, well, have you ever been a victim of a crime? Have you ever done, have you ever been prosecuted for a crime? Have you ever been, if you were you treated fairly? Things like this. What's your relationship with law enforcement? All these things are very private,
Right.
and they're thrown into these big groups. And you have to understand that, hey, people are stressed. And
Right.
I think it's really important for the courts to show a certain amount of empathy for not just the civil plaintiff or the civil defendant or the criminal defendant or the person seeking a restraining order, but also the ancillary people who are participating in the system.
Okay.
So
So other than empathy and flexibility, what are some other characteristics that would make a good judge?
well, I think the ability to process a lot of information quickly.
Okay.
And I've done that really all my life.
Okay.
Just, as far as, like, as I was telling you the other day, you have to always be prepared so you can be flexible. And for that, you need to have that information readily available.
Okay.
So matter of fact, when we're done today, I'm off to trial to go pick a jury.
Okay. Oh, well, good. Well, you have the information and you have the experience that you have, shared with us. What are some other things that we might not know about being a judge?
Well, I think life experience is a real big thing. And I've, from living, my father was one of those guys who said, well, try to fix it. You go, what are you going to do, break it more? It's already broken. So I've really lived my life like that. And I've had a lot of opportunities to see a lot of different things, from traveling overseas to Thailand and Vietnam and the Far East, and then down to South America and Europe. You get a lot of exposure. Okay. I've had my children, thank goodness my wife Deanna has really assisted me in connecting with the community as far as the National Charity League. My daughter was involved in that, and the National Young Men's League. My sons were involved in that.
Right.
And then I am a member of the Sons of Italy, so every September we participate in the International Street Fair.
Okay.
The thing, I think one of the great things, one of the experiences I gave my two sons was I told them they could have any car they wanted as long as they built it. Yeah. So my son Fred built a Jeep from the ground up, and then my other son Philip built a beautiful 1966 Mustang.
Wow.
And I did not want them to be mechanics as a living, but I wanted that idea of building things and fixing things teaches you to solve problems. It's just a problem-solving exercise, and you can take that along to almost anything else you do.
Right.
And I think that's my greatest gift, that because I'm exposed to all these other things, I think it's really important to know the law, but not forget your humanity.
Perfect. I like that. Well, let's go ahead and let everybody know your website. Super easy.
Yep, votejudgefred.com.
VoteJudgeFred.com. That's perfect. And we've got that right on the screen for everybody. So perfect. Well, good luck to you. Thank you for sharing the information. And other than that, good luck today in trial.
Thank you very much. I've really enjoyed myself.
All right. And as we mentioned, you can find out more information about Fred at his website. And if you have any additional questions or information, you can always go there. We'll be right back.